Hey guys, you've made it to method 10 and this is to tutor people in English. Okay, so I have actually studied the TEFL qualification, but a lot of people seem to think or have the idea in their minds that in order to do that, you actually do need a qualification. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't help. It does help, especially if you're deciding to tutor children. You will need to know some of the specific skills that are necessary in order for you to be able to communicate with children from other countries and then teach them your native language. But there are other ways around this, and we're going to go through that now. There are numerous countries which people are willing to pay. In which people are willing to pay for an English tutor, and sometimes as much as $25 per hour. How can you know if teaching English would be a good fit for you? Well, let's see. Qualifications for tutoring. Have a solid grasp of English grammar. If you do, you can tick that off. Understand the nuances of speaking English. Have a bachelor's degree. Now, this was created before I discovered what I'm about to show you. If you are planning to be a TEFL teacher and obviously go into the class, then it is required. I have a bachelor's degree. And as far as I knew, when I actually initially created this presentation, a bachelor's degree was the only way that they would even consider you before even looking at the TEFL, which is the teaching English language as a foreign language qualification. But as I said, if you are looking to go into the classroom or you're looking to teach kids, as a professional qualification, or rather a professional career, then yes, having a bachelor's degree is important. And lastly, to communicate clearly. Can they hear you? Can they understand you? But we are going to look at the alternative. But let's just keep going with this for now, depending on what your considerations are. Have the ability to teach. Can you communicate, but also can you diversify your communication in order to get a message across and allow people to not only understand you and grasp information, but to retain the information? Can you teach? Do you actually enjoy talking with others? There has to be obviously a level of patience. But also communicating with other people, being able to know when to give the other person the floor, to air their views and their opinions, and also to make mistakes. Can you handle that? Are you comfortable using technology like Skype? It could be Skype, it could be Zoom. Mostly it would probably be Skype, especially I think certain platforms, if you're teaching in an Asian country, they might not be allowed to use other platforms like Zoom. So you would have to, and especially even if you're just teaching privately over, and you think maybe WhatsApps might be, video calling, that might actually be within their firewall. So you probably need to get acquainted with Skype again if you're not using it at the moment. Okay, now places to find online English tutoring jobs. For the tutoring jobs that we've been going through, where you do have to have the qualification, you might want to look at things like Indeed, Learn for Good, Remote.co, and Verbal Planet is one that you can also consider. And in terms of tutoring people in English, it basically exposes you to a variety of cultures. So if that's something that interests you, there isn't a travel ban in the moment. If you're watching this within the middle of the pandemic, however long this is going to go on for, there are certain places that you can't travel to, and there are a lot of places that you still can, but obviously there's quarantine requirements. But at the same time, regardless, the online world still gives you the opportunity to bask in different cultures and places you would never experience otherwise. Now, let's just go through something that I do want to show you. And it's something that I think that would really interest you if you are not planning to go down the fully professional route, but you're still interested in teaching, and maybe concentrating on teaching adults as well as children, you can always advance your skills to teach children over time, and you can study up on that and watch YouTube videos if you like. But there are adults out there who want to be taught how to speak English, and you have the opportunity to do that through certain platforms that don't require you to have a degree. They just require you to have the know-how, the patience, the personality, and also the willingness to share your skills and your language with another from another country. And that can be done by utilizing things like this. So as we can see here, if we just click on this, now I'm going to go back to this in a second, but one of the things that you can consider is, and this is just loading as we speak, are platforms like Tutor, the Tutor sign up. This has actually brought me to my profile, so if we go back one, the Tutor sign up for things like Cambly. I'll go back to this one as soon as I get the opportunity to do. But if we just show you the next one down, these are all the alternatives for things like Cambly. So you've got things like Preply, or Preply rather. So you can look to become a tutor, or you can find tutors on here, and then obviously there's the business version for enterprise, and it gives you all the languages, and there's obviously loads more. So if you want to find a tutor, what do you want to learn, you just type it in here. But if you want to become a tutor, then you just click on this section, and then it will ask you to sign in. And as it says here, weekly most popular tutors on Preply earn up to $5.50. This is the same for any of the other alternatives that are available, like Take Lessons, Wizant, My Tutor, Ripple, Tutor.com, Revolution Prep, and also obviously Cambly as well. So there are so many here that are available to you, and you do not necessarily have to have a degree or a TEFL qualification. You can be a part of the teaching world without having to have specifics behind you, and you can always work on those whilst you're teaching, in order to provide your students with a little bit more knowledge and skill that you've gained over time. So I hope you are pleased with that information and those websites. And just to give you another quick look, so you can maybe jot some of them down, but obviously you can always pause the screen and just take a quick note of any of these, and then type them into your browser and have a good look through. And you can sign up to as many as you like. There's no stopping you, and teach full-time off of the majority of these once you're accepted. Okay, so we'll see you in the next lecture, where we'll be talking about selling stock photos. Have a good one, and see you soon.